I'm learning, you're learning, so let's learn together. I'll do all the footwork and heavy lifting to find the guests and subjects that will help broaden our understanding of the Civil War. All I ask from you is your support. Please go to patreon.com/addressinggettysburg and learn with me. That's patreon.com/addressinggettysburg. And I thank you in advance.
From the Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, you're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg. And today we have a first-timer on the show, but he's not in any way new to the Civil War field, the great Phil Spoggy. Welcome, Phil.
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to have you on. When I saw your name on the schedule, I said, "Oh, this will be fun."
Yeah, it will be fun. I've watched my partner Jim Hessler a bunch on his show.
That's right.
I don't know if I'll be up to his professional smoothness. There's only one Jim Hessler.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But, practice makes perfect. So here's your first attempt at it,
That's
right?
Good, yeah.
We're talking about small arms at Gettysburg today.
Yep.
And that's going to encompass a bunch of different things. And, of course, for those of you who don't know, small arms mean not artillery, is right? Exactly. Basically is what we're talking about. So pistols, carbines, rifles, and stuff like that, muskets. And it wasn't that everybody here had all the same firearm. It varied.
It sure did.
So go into that. Go ahead. Tell us about.
Well, you can start with the two basic types of infantry firearms, which is going to be the rifle musket or smoothbore musket. Mm-hmm. The rifle musket usually fired either the 54 caliber or 57 caliber in the case of infield, or 58 caliber Pritchett or Burton ball. Burton being the American name of the French mini ball, which I prefer to use.
Which one do you prefer to use, Mini or Burton?
Burton. Yeah. It's my lifelong passion to change Civil War history, so everyone says Burton ball.
Well, maybe now people will start.
Sort of like going after that windmill. But anyhow, so, you got those three basic calibers that you saw in use at the Battle of Gettysburg with both sides. The smoothbore was a 69 caliber round, which fired a 64 caliber round ball and 331 caliber buckshot round two. And then some of the North Carolina troops had with their smoothbores, they actually had a slug, almost like a shotgun slug. I think it was called a Nestler ball. They have found some in Dean Thomas's book. You'll see some examples. So
how's that spelled? NESS?
NESLER, I believe. Going off the top of my head.
Okay.
So but that didn't see wide use, but it was out there. So
it's two S's. But
okay, good.
Yeah,
there you go.
But yeah.
So those are your basic calibers that were used. For instance, the 61 Springfield rifle musket would be a 58 caliber. The infield, going back over this again, would either be a 58 or 5.77 caliber, and the Austrian Lorenz 54 or 58, and the Mississippi rifle, which only the 45th New York had at Gettysburg, again, were all 54 calibers.
So the Lorenz, let's go into that because the Iron Brigade had that, right?
Some of the regiments did, and that I'm glad we start here because the Lorenz sometimes gets a little bit it's a second class arm, and people will say, "Oh, the Austrian Lorenz, it wasn't the Springfield," and when you look at the work that the two regiments, which are the 2nd Wisconsin and the 7th Wisconsin, had Lorenzes, and you look at the work they did from the beginning of the war, we can go up to Gainesville, which is the proper name of the Battle of Browner's Farm, and you can go South Mountain and Antietam and on. With those Lorenzes, they did good work with those guns.
So when we were down at Fort Shenandoah with the shooting, what do we have a name for that event, or was it just a shoot, or what?
That is something that we started. I actually started it. It's probably been 3 or 4 years ago with what we wanted to do in the NSSA is to bring in people like yourself and writers, okay, magazine writers, authors like Jim, and who've never really handled a Civil War firearm. I think it's an important component of anybody writing about the war needs to handle the firearm.
Yeah.
Have the experience, okay? Obviously, no one's shooting back at you, so you can't have the complete experience,
Right.
but at least you can have the experience. And so that's why we started it to do that.
So, I mean, because that was I believe a Battle of Gettysburg podcast event that we went to there, but I think it's such a great idea to do that. I think not just writers or podcasters or filmmakers or whoever, but anybody who's studying this, I really think should be able to do that. Could we set something up like that where maybe we could do it as a joint thing with Jim and them?
Yeah, I will. Let me talk to our new national commander and see. They've had some questions over this winter about insurance requirements.
I bet.
And so they're trying to figure out the best way to incorporate that deal. And we're supposed to talk about it at this Nationals. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tremendous. It is a tremendous benefit to those people, and especially the different types of firearms you can handle.
Well, and so when we were there, I think I sampled everything. I shot it. I didn't shoot the pistols because I have them, and I already know what that's like. But I always wanted to fire a Henry, and
everybody wants to shoot a Henry.
Yeah, because they're so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful gun.
Yeah,
couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with it for some reason, but with the Lorenz, I couldn't miss.
It's a good firearm.
Well, right, and so my preconceived notion of it from what I've read or seen or heard people saying was that the Lorenz, it's not that great. Like you just said, second class gun. But I did better than that than I did with the Springfield or the Enfield.
I like to say, we go west, God forbid, across the mountains into the great unknown, and where I spend most of my time. And you can look at the armies out there. In fact, the Army of Tennessee, I believe, the Confederate Army of Tennessee, in 1864, I bet you they had either 40 or 50% Lorenzes in their arms. So, and of course, the Federal Army had a lot of them too, until late 63, 64. So, yeah, I mean, it's an important firearm. It's an important part of the Civil War firearm history.
I actually kind of liked it better. I liked the feel of it. I liked how easy it was for me to hit what I was aiming at. And yeah, I liked it. Six Questions Lentz, the one and only Six Questions Lentz, said he went last fall, and he said it was really cool. And he did well with the Sharps carbine and the Austrian Lorenz.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
There you go. My favorite, though, was firing the cannon. That was, I've always wanted to do that.
And obviously, a pitch for them is to say our Nationals are this weekend at a range north of Winchester off 522. Saturday afternoon, starting about noon, will be the artillery match. It runs all afternoon, probably plus 30 guns. Okay, rifle and smoothbore. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it's our number one spectator event. The morning on Saturday is carbine match, and then the musket match is Sunday morning. But we also have smoothbore match and a Henry match and a Spencer match and a smoothbore pistol match, single shot match now. So we shoot about everything. I mean,
that's a lot of fun.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it sounds fun, and it's a beautiful spot too. It's really neat up there.
Oh, I love going down there. When I left, I was thinking, I haven't missed a national since 1979.
Wow.
Coming to Winchester at least twice a year. And my first year was in 78, but I missed my very first one because that was when I was married in the first administration. And so was our honeymoon, so that didn't work out so well. But it's a special place, and so many good Civil War historians are members of the NSSA. Yeah. Jerry Coates, who is a longtime member of the NSSA. Rob Hodge, is a member of the NSSA. He'll be at Winchester this weekend.
It's a cool hobby.
Yeah, Dr. Lawrence Babbitts, who writes a lot on the Revolutionary War, is a member of the NSSA. I can go on and on with Joe Bilby, is a member of the NSSA. So,
and to your point, actually handling and firing these weapons in some way or another is going to help you tell the story.
It is.
Or understand it or whatever. Yeah. So, okay. So back to the Lorenz and other firearms here at Gettysburg. So we have 2 regiments that are carrying the Lorenz in the whole Army or just the Iron Brigade?
Oh, just there's other Lorenz's regiments in the Army of the Potomac. I know there's some 3rd Corps regiments have them.
Okay.
I think the 57th Pennsylvania has them at the Sherfy Farm, if I remember correctly. But so they're scattered throughout the Army of the Potomac.
So you mentioned the 3rd Corps, and I'm a little fuzzy on this, but whatever my fuzziness is might ring a bell for you. I feel like, was there some experimental round that one of the units was carrying?
One of the is it 1st or 2nd New Hampshire was supposed to have some sort of if I remember right, it was a round that was a multi-round, had like 2 or 3 different bullets in it too. The Confederates confused it maybe as an exploding round, or maybe it had even a percussion cap in the nose. I can't really remember, but they were in the Peachtree.
But that sounds familiar.
I think that's right. Yeah, they were in the Peachtree. It wasn't too successful. I mean, it really wasn't.
Obviously not.
But as we talk about, the rifle musket, when you start studying the Civil War, when you're a young person, and I style myself as a boy of 1961, because I was 7 years old then, and how cool it was to be a 7-year-old in the Centennial back in the days when.
Oh, I bet those were the days. Yeah.
Johnny Reb Cannon into the Christmas tree, and then the War Department took it away from me. But anyhow, it's really always simplified. The Confederates had infields, and the North we had Springfields, and that was it. And then the fascinating variety of arms, both domestic and European, that came in, especially the first 2 years of war. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And the problems of the Ordnance Department, and sometimes regiments had 2 different calibers, and, just trying to figure that out.
It had to be a nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
And then you have the experimental ones that are newer technology that's being explored, and not necessarily here, but I mean in the war in general.
Well, yeah, and Spencer the Spencer, and James Ripley, who's the head of ordnance, takes a lot of heat because he did not embrace the repeating rifle right away. Okay, but if you think about it, number one, a rifle musket or a smoothbore is simple: lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah.
It's an arm that people are familiar with. Number two, the logistics of the ammunition for a repeating arm. Getting an ammo. I mean, if you look at what Custer's, his 2 regiments that had Spencer rifles, the only Spencers at Gettysburg, okay?
Not Buford.
The only Spencers at Gettysburg.
Right.
If you look how fast they ran through their ammo, going against Witcher and the 34th Virginia and the 14th Virginia out there on the Rummel Farm,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they really did run through the ammo quick, and with good reason too.
Yeah.
But then you go, okay, we need more ammo. So, and it's always intrigued me how to get the ammunition up to the troops. It
mm-hmm.
really is.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the carbines on the first day because obviously for years, I mean, even Shelby Foote said that, they had Spencers. And I picked up a book at the Ohio Civil War Show. It's an old book on the Spencer. And I'm leafing through it, and one of the paragraphs said, at Gettysburg, the North had 35,000 Spencers.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Cool.
35,000.
Yeah. And lightsabers and, everything. Exactly. So, you go through that. And when Eric Wittenberg was writing his Buford book on the first day,
mm-hmm.
I worked with him a little bit talking about the arms. And, he would go on about, there was one part in there, if I remember right, that one of the Illinois cavalry regiments that they fired their carbine so quickly they actually stopped and cooled the barrel in the waters of Willoughby's Run. And I told Eric, I said, I have fired a lot of carbines in a lot of matches, and they'll get warm, but I never felt the need to cool the water. I said, besides the fact, boil it down, a cavalryman would carry in his carbine box, 20 rounds. That's what they held. And they, probably another 20 or 40 in his haversack. And it was a holding action. So they're not standing there.
Yeah.
They're, and he said, well, you're right. And I said, okay, well, let's move on to the next question.
The rest of this preview is available over at patreon.com/addressinggettysburg.